talking about making orbs, orbs of light, orb farming. So what am I talking about? So in a previous video, we discussed how you have different abilities in Destiny, including your melee, your grenade, and your super. Your super, your ultimate, whatever. Kind of, a lot of games have this thing where your character has this crazy ability that can only be unleashed every couple of minutes or every little while. So, with your super, it, as I said, it builds up over time, and after a few minutes, you are able to unleash it. And several things can actually increase the pace by which you can use your super. Some armor, some weapons increases the speed of it, but the most common way is by picking up orbs of light. So, when a Guardian in Destiny does something pretty cool, usually with their super, but other things apply, they drop orbs of light. They cannot see them or pick them up from themselves, but they can pick up other orbs from other people. And by picking them up, you usually gain other advantages, like sometimes your health regenerates, sometimes your other abilities regenerate, but most notably, your super regenerates faster. So, today I'm going to look at a build, at a specific type of perks, items, and weapons that I like to use to try and help my fellow Guardians use their super as much as possible. So, as you may recall, I pretty much only play Titan. The Titan class is my favorite, and it's the one that I play all the time. I really have very little experience with the other classes. So, if you're playing a Titan, the best way to create orbs of light, in my opinion, is to go as the Defender subclass. This subclass, his super notably is the Ward of Dawn, which is the purple force field protective bubble that you can make. Now, unfortunately, usually orbs of light are created when a Guardian super kills an enemy or a group of enemies, and the Ward of Dawn does not kill enemies at all. It's just a protective bubble. Enemies can go in, can go out, no problem. Never a miscommunication. But there are some perks here that make playing the Defender subclass really good for generating orbs, in my opinion. First one we look at is Gift of Light. So, while Force Barrier is active, all your melee kills create orbs of light. Force Barrier is the personal force field that a defender can make when they melee kill an enemy to death. So, you punch an enemy to death every so often, boom, you get this extra shield. While this shield is active, usually around up to 20 seconds or less if you take damage, while it's active, every subsequent melee kill creates orbs of light. So this is fantastic. You play any low or medium level arena or challenge mode or story type in Destiny, and you're going to run into a lot of enemies that you can punch to death quite easily. So that is pretty fantastic. The next perk we're going to look at is Gift of the Void. As your Ward of Dawn takes damage from enemy fire, it creates additional orbs of light. So, normally the Ward of Dawn will drop 2 orbs, and then as enemies fire at it, it will drop 3 more. Now, this perk is not very useful when you're playing against actual human people, because they know about this perk, and they know the uselessness of shooting at the ward. Unless you're planning on destroying the ward with a super, shooting at it is pretty useless. So this doesn't come up when you're playing against people, but when you're playing against, the darkness, the alien AI, they always shoot at it, and it's fantastic. You can drop an additional 3 orbs here and successfully drop up to 5 orbs almost every time you super, which is great. The next, which I'm switching to here, is Iron Harvest. Heavy weapon kills have a chance to create orbs of light for your allies. Now, I haven't sat down and actually figured out what the percentage is, but from my personal experience, I'd say it's anywhere between 25 and 40% of the time you kill an enemy with your heavy weapon, you drop an orb of light. So that's pretty great too, because you can't punch every enemy to death, unfortunately, and sometimes you want to use your heavy weapon, and the having this passive perk where it can possibly create an orb is fantastic. So the next thing we're going to look at is equipment. What weapons and armor do I use to try and maximize the orbs here? Well, for a while I was running with the no backup plans, these shiny looking gauntlets right here, and because of this. Shotgun kills trigger your force barrier, and your force barrier duration is increased. So your force barrier lasts longer, and a shotgun kill rather than a melee can activate it, which is great if you're fighting medium to hard enemies. You run in, you shotgun them to death, their orb comes up, you use your shotgun or other weapons to bring the other enemy's health down, then you punch them to death, create some orbs. But for this time, I thought I would try the Crest of Alpha Lupi. The main perk of this canine armor here that I remembered was the fact that you can revive and be revived faster. So when you die or your allies die, you can bring them back faster. But I had forgotten about this extra perk underneath. Supers generate an extra orb. So every time I drop my super, I'm now dropping a guaranteed 3 orbs, and plus the Gift of the Void, I'm able to generate 3 more. So I thought I would give this a shot and see how this works. Now, as you can see here, the strength, the higher your strength score, the faster your melee ability regenerates. And as you can see, mine is pretty low. What's the deal? Well, I'm using the Monte Carlo auto rifle right here, the exotic auto rifle, and its awesome perk is dealing damage with this weapon reduces your cooldown and grants a chance to fully recharge your melee ability with each kill, as you can read. So, so the benefit here is that anytime you deal damage with this weapon, you are reducing the time you have to wait on your melee, and every time you kill something with this weapon, you have a chance of getting it back. So this has been pretty great for me. I find that I'm rarely without my melee ability. Basically, anytime I run out with it, I switch to this weapon, I kill a couple of guys. Even if I don't kill them, if I just wear down their health, shoot it at the big bad guy, my melee comes back faster. Next thing, I like to use a machine gun for the Iron Harvest. Remember, the heavy weapon kills have a chance to create orbs. The reason I like to do this is because I find with a machine gun I can control my kills. So if I just used a rocket launcher, I could just run in, blow up everybody, and that's great. But with this, I can pick and choose who I'm shooting at, and I can reduce. Sometimes I use this to reduce the health, and if I kill them, maybe I'll create an orb, but if their health goes low enough, I can run in and punch them and almost guarantee myself to create more orbs. Finally, we're looking at artifacts here. In the Rise of Iron expansion this year, 2016, you were able to pick up these memories, these artifacts. They were memories of the Iron Lords, the whole Rise of Iron is based around. And each one has different perks, and there's probably a few different combinations that I could go with, but the one I'm going with today is Void Precision Kills against a minion of the darkness have a chance to generate an orb. So let's switch there. So as you can see here, this weapon and this weapon are both void based, so Void Precision Kills with those have a chance to generate an orb. Now there are other ones. I believe there's this one here. Void melees have a chance to generate an orb when killing a minion of the darkness. However, I'm not exactly sure if that stacks in Destiny. I'm not sure if applying this will allow me to possibly create 2 orbs when I kill an enemy. It's something I've been playing around with, and I haven't really noticed. I haven't definitively seen it produce 2 orbs when you punch an enemy to death. So, Guardians, other people who've made these videos and played before, if you have an idea, post a comment down below. Let me know. Can you actually create 2 orbs? Not guaranteed, but is it possible? Or do they not stack at all? But for today, I'm going to go with this. Void Precision Kills create